Welcome to the Wolfhound Franchising Podcast. I'm Sean Livingston, franchise broker and consultant, and member of the Franchise Brokers Association. And today I have an interview with Radu Nedelcu, who is a Mr. Handyman franchisee. So I hope you enjoy the interview. And if you have any questions about a business opportunity or franchise, please feel free to reach out. I'd be glad to help. Thanks and enjoy the interview. So today we have Radu Nedelcu, Ned, who was a client of mine a while back, and he transitioned out of the Army and is now a Mr. Handyman franchisee. So Ned, tell us about your background, military experience,
Okay.
just to start off with.
Yep. I enlisted in the Guard when I was 19 years old because in Connecticut, the Guard pays for your tuition for in-state schools. So I was the guy looking for tuition waiver, and so that was my whole purpose. Can't sit here and tell you I was patriotic or anything. I just went for the college money, and so I did that, and then I was looking to get out because the Guard had served its purpose. I received my college money and graduated college, and then 9/11 happened. And now I was in a moral dilemma where I had to be patriotic because it's like, well, your country kind of needs it. Are you going to get out at this point? So then I had to stay in. So I was infantry officer, and I didn't really like the infantry. And so I was talking to them trying out for special forces because that would be more reasonable and it fit my personality better. So I went for that, and it worked out. And then I got caught up in the whole global war on terror, right? Well, we all had to do our part, and I ended up sticking around for quite a while. I woke up one day, and it was 2017. I'm in the Pentagon, and at this point now, I should get an active federal retirement. So, yeah, I might as well just stick around. But at that point, I had achieved my purpose. My purpose was Green Beret into my part. I had done my part into Iraq and Afghanistan twice, Africa, South America. Let me pause for 1 second. Okay, I'm back. So yeah, so then that was my purpose, right? And I'm in the Pentagon, and okay, well now it's just a function of time. And then I had a buddy of mine that was retiring, and he said, "Look, you got to ask yourself, because once you hit 20 years of active federal service, are you willing to work for half the pay?" And at that point, I was sitting there thinking, well, do I really want to? And because I wasn't really fulfilling my purpose anymore. But it's supposed to be a Green Beret. And then Ukraine kicked off, and this was like the real writing on the wall. Ukraine kicked off, and then I'm a Romanian speaker. I had worked throughout Eastern Europe, and I thought, hey, I wonder if like USASOC or SOCOM's gonna be like, oh, we gotta send this guy forward to Moldova as an advisor, and there was no interest in that. And that's when I realized, like, hey man, it's okay. You've done your part. There's only interest in your services for you to man invest in the Pentagon, but that's not really what I want to do. And so I'm not that hard up to get promoted beyond lieutenant colonel. So I just went ahead and retire. But that's essentially my mistake. I ended up serving for 30 years total, 2.5 years active federal service.
Nice. I didn't know you were in for 30. Yeah. And it goes by so quick.
Well, especially with GWAT, right? Like you're deploying. I mean, there's still deployments, but you're going like, hey, go to Africa. And yeah, you're not getting shot at, but you're going somewhere. Go to South America. I can't really count Europe as a deployment. Yeah. I did, I did that a few times, so, um, but, it's still, you're still going out there doing stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I look back, I had 21 years and I look back and it, I don't know. It just went by so fast. Like the first 3 years felt like forever, you know? And then the rest of it, when I look back, blink of an eye, it was already through and I had 3 kids and it was like,
Yeah, I
what just
mean,
happened?
you joined for whatever reason, but as we find our path,
All right, we need to close this door now and start the flip.
especially once you figure out what your purpose. Hold on a second, I'm gonna turn on the AC.
Yeah.
Once you figure out your purpose is, and you
Yeah.
and you start pursuing that, um, then things are a little bit different. And the other thing too is, we had two major conflicts going on, right? So you got two conflicts going on, and then I'm going here, I'm going there, and that's it's life and death, you know. That's serious stuff. So now all of a sudden you kind of pulled into this, and that's your new reality, and you don't really sit there and keep track of, oh well, I've been in for so long, I've been doing this. You just doing your job.
Right.
But yeah, you kind of get sucked into this. I don't even know what term, but where time time doesn't exist anymore,
Right.
and then you find yourself in a big headquarters, and then you realize, holy cow,
There's
20,
no.
25 years have gone by, or 26 years have gone by. Like, what do I do now? Well, get promoted one more time,
Windows.
get your high three, and then
She wants us to take
if there's
down
something good that comes up, do it. But if not,
the
it doesn't
curtains or the
fulfill your
blinds
purpose,
and
you've done your part.
the
Yeah.
Good.
stuff behind the window.
So, well, speaking of purpose,
Yeah.
so going from that, what got you interested in owning your own business and finding that as your purpose?
So that's a uh, complex question for me, because so first I had, as always, you have somebody that's done it ahead of you, and then you watch them do it, and you're like, okay, this is cool. You don't realize how much
I'm just gonna put on their curtains
the
or blinds.
undertaking is, like how big it is, and how many things you got to worry about. But it looks cool, and it piques your interest. But at the same time, so you get when you're going through all your transition programs, you get exposure to it. And so I went through some entrepreneur seminars as I was at Fort Myers. As I was transitioning out, and interestingly enough, some guy by the name of Sean Livingston out of nowhere pings me, and I was like, oh, fellow Green Beret, let me see what's up. And I was like, well, that's kind of interesting coincidence, right? And so that kind of makes me scratch my head. But then you're still gonna play it safe. Like, so in my case, I'm married at the time. I had 3 kids, and I got 4 kids. And you're like, okay, well, how do I take care of these people? So like my path, which I'm totally good with, because because then you got to take a little bit of leap of faith. That retirement and that TRICARE for retirees and everything else, it's such a fantastic safety net that I wanted to see it. I wanted to see it kick in. I wanted to see that money hitting my account. I wanted to see those real numbers, and then make a decision about it. And then that was the thing, working with you and just looking at different franchises, and that's kind of like what piqued my interest. And then as I learn more and more, you kind of apply that Warren Buffett concept of, hey, if it's
on the other job.
a valued service that people need, it might be a good endeavor, right? So almost any kind of franchise opportunity, from your initial research, it should kind of sell itself and have that eye-opening moment where, like, oh yeah, people do need this, and then I could see myself doing it, right? If you can't answer those questions, then no. And that's kind of how I got to, yeah, I want to do something. I don't necessarily work for somebody else, and kind of figure that out.
You mentioned as you went through the process and they start teaching you everything. What did you see, or what did they go through in that process of getting out, or was there resources like from the VA that were able to for entrepreneurship and either guide you or give you classes or anything like that? What was available to you?
So there's quite a bit. So the VA, I tapped into like some of the resources of the VA for entrepreneurs. But there are resources through the VA. There are obviously, as you're transitioning out, whatever installation you're transitioning out of, they will have seminars. It's all these are optional. So I think they do like the standard package where I think you'll have like the initial one is like maybe a 2 or 4 hour class. And then if it's something that interests you, then you sign up for the 2-day one. So I've literally gone through the 4-hour one, the 2-day one. I did a 5-day workshop through Mississippi State. And now I just signed up for another one through Syracuse University.
So they're available to you ongoing, like even
Oh, yeah.
even after you've gotten out in your business and everything.
Oh yeah. Yes. So that's what I'm saying. Like always look. So now, once you're with the VA, I get notified all the time about resources for entrepreneurs. That's what caused me to bring that up with you, because I had an email from the VA talking about entrepreneurs, and I hadn't even scratched the surface on that yet.
Yeah, I didn't even think I don't think I realized there was even additional classes even after that. Like it kept going. Well, was it helpful? Was there things that you learned in those classes that have been helpful since you started the business?
Yeah, so I would always tell anybody, like, look, man, it's shame on you if you don't learn something, right? If somebody that's done it and they've had some kind of success, shame on you if you don't learn, because it's easy to pick anything apart. Anybody can do that, but as far as like learning and how do you go about building something, yeah, that's a little more challenging. And so I would challenge anybody to have an open mind and see what they have to say, and then if something piques your interest, just keep doing research and keep doing your due diligence.
Yeah. Do you feel like what you learned in the Army transferred over into owning a business?
Yes, because what the Army should teach you is structure, discipline, right? Just because you're not in a unit anymore where they have that structure and discipline, you've already learned how to do that stuff. Apply it. That's all it is. It's literally, you do some mission analysis. You write a basic order, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then keep addressing your priorities. The hedgehog principle. Keep doing the same thing over and over every day. But refine it, because what you start with might not be where it is a few months down the road. It's going to evolve, and that's fine. But the culture of discipline, leadership, I was told is like, listen, when it's all said and done, you just sit there. If you're looking at a problem set, close your eyes and think about it. Like, how would I handle this if I'm on a deployment?
Yeah.
And you'll probably come up with a pretty good solution.
Yeah, and I don't know, for anyone listening, if you don't know, you took that hedgehog idea off of was it Good to Great? Did you read that book?
That's my go-to book.
Yeah. So I read it too. I use that analogy all the time, the fox and the hedgehog. So if you're listening and you're looking for a good business book, Good to Great is a good book to read. But yeah, I always looked at it like marketing. A lot of people end up doing that fox method where they start running all over the place. They're trying to, you know what I mean? They're trying to build their nest by going all over, but the hedgehog builds its core first and then starts to move out.
Yes. Well, it's the whole, and I would argue the same thing. Like a great TED talk is Simon Sinek, how leaders aspire, inside out, right? It starts with the purpose.
Yep.
And then just build it up from there. But that disciplined approach that the Army teaches you, just come in every day, same thing.
Yeah, I describe when I'm talking to other veterans. Actually, I talked about this last night at a networking event to somebody, describing. I used a painting franchise as a example, but think about it as like if you're a platoon sergeant and you have each squad and you're sending your crew out for the day and you're managing them. You're making sure they're supplied. You're making sure, so I don't know. You think about that as like a team leader or something like that. It's like you have your own little company, you know?
Yeah. It's Army leadership. We just, in civilian world, in corporate world, we just call it project management. But it's Army leadership.
Right. Let's see. So how was the process getting on board with Mr. Handyman?
It's actually really, really well structured. So they do a good job, because you don't realize until you start, how much it goes into this. Like, you see what you see behind me, and it's like, well, that's not easy, right? You gotta have a framework in place, and they have way more than enough resources for you to be successful. So it's systematic, it's by the numbers, and it works.
Yeah. I felt like,
Again,
I felt like when I was in my franchise, I got an on the job MBA. I mean, especially doing it for 10 years,
hedgehog principle, right? You just get in there and just keep working on it.
right.
And the other thing too, they talk about, as you're building your institution, it's like the giant metal flywheel, right? Good to great. When at first we're pushing on it, it takes a lot of work, but it starts moving, it starts building momentum, it starts moving faster and faster and faster.
Right.
So the only advice I would give people is, like, don't go in there thinking it's a quick fix. Okay. Be prepared to grind, stay positive. And the other thing I would say too is where you envision things when you first start, that vision will evolve and may change completely. It is okay. It's okay. Just keep pursuing success, and don't worry about how it evolves and what's happening. That's why you just focus on principles. Don't focus on specific things. And then you'll grow. Concepts and principles.
How was it having the franchise connected to the neighborly company as such a large umbrella for the company? How is it being connected to them? Does it help?
I think so. And I'm still scratching the surface on that. And here's why I say that. Because so they refer to all the different franchises under neighborly as verticals. As you're looking at them, you're like, okay, you're at a decision point, right? Do I expand my territory? Do I add a supporting franchise? So what I would advise anybody is start small, achieve success, build on it. So start whatever you're going to start as far as like a franchise. Make sure you get that to whatever your definition of success, because if you say, oh, I want to get to my break-even point. Well, as I sit here as a business owner, there are 3 definitions of break-even, right? Am I just paying for employees, bills, everything else? Is that plus what I want to pay myself, or is that plus what I want to pay myself and then recoup, all the owner investment money and rebuild my cash reserves? So, start small, achieve success, build on it, make that a success. As you're cutting your teeth on that, then figure out, okay, are there other verticals that I want to explore? Do I want to expand my territory? What does this look like? What do I want to do?
Right. Let's see. Yeah, because Mr. Hand, I would think what you're doing is kind of like, I don't know. I think of like the armorer, like you have your lower level maintenance, and then if it's something more specific, if you end up going into something more, because Neighborly has, plumbing, heating and air, I don't know, landscaping, windows, that they have something for everything. So,
Yes.
Then you can start, because you guys do like I don't know, I want to say like the level 1 maintenance of everything, but then, if you have clients who are looking for something more and you had something like that, then you can start,
So to your point, we can go to a customer's house, and this actually happened in one place, and there will be, hey, I need some electrical work done. So even if I have my guys, like, yeah, I could do stuff that a licensed electrician could do, but per that town, hey, this requires a licensed electrician. We don't really want to touch that, because does that mean, so there it could mean a few things. Yeah, you need a permit. You also need to be licensed to do this. And so now it falls on us because we insure our work. And so now we're responsible for something that we did that we're not licensed in. So we go around to that threshold. We're like, okay, at this point now it requires a license. And if we don't have that license, we're not gonna, tell somebody like, yeah, we could do it, because if we can't, we can't.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, do you guys end up calling, like, I don't know if there's another neighborly franchise in the area, like, I don't know, if it's heating and air and you guys can't fix that, is that who you would go to, like call the air serve or something?
Yeah, so the way it typically works is that you're going to contact, so you're going to look within neighborly. So with us, we've only been around for 3 months, so we're still working on building our network of, hey, I need electrical. So at a minimum, who's in our Rolodex for electrical, plumbing, HVAC, flooring, stuff that
Okay.
roofing, stuff that we can't do. Well, roofing are good because we have, right where we are, right down the road, we got a roofing company, and they're pretty good. So anything roofing, we send them over to those guys.
Okay. Well, it's nice too. Once you start building that network of it, for Mr. Handyman, you guys start to become kind of that client's go-to person to find those services, right? Right? Is that how
Right.
it kind of works?
So one of the things, yeah. So like one of our goals internally is, we fix people's problems, right? If you call us up with something, because a lot of times, here's things that people don't know. People don't know you're supposed to maintain your home. Just like you maintain your car, you're supposed to maintain your home. People don't know that. And it calls like, oh, well, I've let my roof leak for X amount of time. Like, well, you're gonna have some problems, right? So people don't necessarily know that, but so we either were able to do the work, or if not, hey, this is what I recommend, and then find somebody else. Because even if you don't get a customer, but you advise them on, like, hey, they're gonna remember that. Like, hey, these guys didn't make any money off of me, but they gave me some pretty good advice.
Well, yeah, that's good. It's builds that trust,
Yeah.
So the next time they need, I don't know, it might be, like I said, like the lower level stuff. I don't know if it's, you're not replacing the whole air conditioning unit, but if it's something little, then you might be the first ones they call. So
Yep.
let's see. And when we were talking about the verticals, do you plan to scale or expand your franchise? I know you've only been there for 3 months, but I guess future plans down the road, 5 years from now or something, is that something you plan on doing?
So I don't have. So the thing is this. So I have more an event-based roadmap as opposed to timeline. Um, so 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 my first goal was just looking at the operation, looking at the company is got to have customer service rep and 3 techs. We are there now. We have to build that where we can reconstitute our cash reserves. Okay, so we recapitalize the business. Then the next big goal is to add an additional customer service rep and 2 more techs. So 2 customer service reps and 5 techs. But the other thing too is because we do commercial and residential. So you initially start out with commercial. You got to do a little more work as far as like building that residential. You start with residential. You got to do a little more work to build that commercial portfolio. So that's the next. So it's more like rocks in the stream that we have to pursue, as opposed to, do I know when that's going to happen? I want it to happen immediately. But what I want, what reality is, because at the same time, brand recognition, brand development, and then that will lead to more and more business development. So that's all going to take time. It's not going to be a quick fix. I think that's the other thing too. Like, people got to understand is that if you're starting a franchise from scratch, it's not going to be really. It's not going to be something. Don't go in there looking for a quick fix, because I think you're gonna disappoint yourself, and then I think you're also gonna, you may get yourself frustrated saying that, oh, this is not what I thought it was. Well, no, you probably went in there with the wrong with the wrong outlook and expectations on how it's going to happen.
So, I didn't have this on my list of questions, but as we were talking,
No,
just thinking of a few things. But how do you feel like having your own business has affected like work-life balance? I know you just had a baby, so I know that's kind of busy.
So work-life balance. I mean, that was the other thing I like too. So obviously, previous job, the work-life balance was even better. You're going to work 35 hours a week, and you had 3 days in the office, 2 telework days. But that was the thing that drew me to this endeavor, was because we work 8-hour days, Monday to Friday.
Right.
So that's a good work week for me. I have no problems with that. And so that works just fine as far as work-life balance. So no complaints.
Yeah. I knew guys, I knew you were in the Northern Virginia area for a while. And there were some guys I knew up there that, I don't know, well, cost of living and all that stuff. I mean, they lived down in like Fredericksburg and were like driving all the way into Arlington, right? They'd spent probably 4 hours on the road every day, and it's like, well, you're leaving before the kids went to bed, or, before they wake up in the morning, and then you're getting home after they went to bed. So it was like, I was like, well, why not just go on a deployment? Like, it's, so sometimes that work-life balance, people start realizing that. I've talked to a few people they got out of the Army and they're like a sales job and they're traveling half the country. And then 2 years later, they're like, wow, yeah, I need to make a change. So.
Yeah, because the other thing too is, all right, so to your point, well, all right, so here, I'm good. I got a 15-minute drive to the office. But the other thing too is, you got to remember, when you start a franchise or any small business, there's a lot of effort and sweat equity to get started. But again, as this thing gains momentum, your staff is getting better and better and better, and then you can start throttling back, right? Like, so now all of a sudden, okay, you're on a hook 24/7 because you're the business owner, but now all of a sudden, you're still going to work, Monday through Friday, but it's not the same. Okay, what am I worrying about now? It's gonna dial back a little
Right.
bit.
How does your wife, like, I know she was kind of part of the decision process there too, since she's working there, right? So.
Well, no, so because I got 4 kids, my wife was former foreign service, and then so she had to resign from State Department, but so she's with the kids, but no,
Good.
her whole thing was like,
Well, this is Jessica.
as I figured out more and more, her whole thing was, hey, just do the entrepreneur thing if that's what's gonna make you happy. Because at the end of the day, pursue happiness. And when I was looking at a thing that really resonated with me was this exercise, and it's a linear exercise.
Don't worry about it.
You're this old right now. You plan on living to whatever age. Make up a number. So Mike is like, I'm 50. When I did it, I'm 50. I'm gonna live till 85.
Yeah,
okay.
I can
And
actually
how many years worth of work do you have?
Mohammed to give you an estimate
10 to
if you would
15.
like that.
You're gonna make this much a year. How much is that? Whereas with this, I can build it up. And if I feel that I still have the energy and I can still work in my 60s, then stay and continue working in your 60s, right? Then nobody's going to look at off-ramping you. Nobody's going to look at, because it's your business. Nobody's going to look at like, all right, well, man, time to retire. No, it's your business. You're still earning on it. And then, oh, by the way, you do the right thing and you build it up. When you look to walk away, if you're looking to
Take your time, sir.
if you're looking to sell it,
I thought you had
all of a sudden you got a paycheck coming from that too.
Well, is there anything extra would you like to add, or any advice that you would give to veterans?
Yes. So the advice I would give to veterans would be, if you're like me and it piques your interest but you're not quite sure, learn as much as you can. Go sign up for seminars, sign
Okay,
up for
so,
events.
what I could do is
Do
I could
that.
set
If
up
you
more
need to get a
content
job when you
about
transition,
power washing
to
and
see what the
everything,
numbers look like,
come
especially if you're
with an
retiree, right?
estimate
Like,
for you, and give
I
you
got to
the
see my
estimate,
VA
and if
kick
you
in. I
approve
got to
the
see.
estimate, then we'll
I
go
got to see
ahead and
my
do it
my
for you.
retirement kick in. What do those
But I'll
what do
have
those
someone
monthly
come out and
paychecks
take
look
a
like?
look.
So I have predictable income. Definitely do that. The other thing I would
So
say
the
is
next time that I have,
the way you think your business is going to look when it starts, that's going to change. And that's okay, right? Because at the end of the day, apply the Warren Buffett concept of find something that's useful that people are going to need, and it'll be okay. So do that sanity check. The other thing that I'm learning is that
I got
be prepared. Be prepared to not get paid year one. Now, if you say to yourself, "Hey, I don't have that kind of money
tomorrow for you,"
that's your business loan,
but
right?
he's supposed to be
Build that into your business loan, because the other thing, we had an entrepreneur in my MBA program that came and said, the finances that you plan for, when this thing kicks off, you're going to realize in a few months you didn't plan for enough finances. In my case, Mr. Handyman, like their standard, because I hit you up about that with their
I just
with their
4 hours.
hey, this is what we kind of recommend to start out. I will tell you right now, from what I know now, so that number was like
No, it all depends on
160 or 170. Double it, or at least go to 300.
Yeah, usually I think of like 20% over, but you want to have a good, yeah, I know you want to have a good safety net. That's one of the reasons why I have seen people fail, is that they were underfunded right from the get-go.
So there's two things. Right? Underfunded, and then you get nervous, right? Because you're going to do that spreadsheet, and it shows, oh,
we don't use bleed.
you're not necessarily going to make money day one. You have 0 Google reviews. Your website just went up. Your phone's not going to ring off the hook, right? And it's okay. And here's the other thing too. There's the regional consideration, right? I'm in the Northeast. Things are kind of slow here in the winter, as far as like, now once you've been established, yeah. If you have customers, you can say, hey, I can give you a discount if we can schedule your project during the winter when it's slower. So now you are keeping your guys going.
Okay.
But I'm fully anticipating things being pretty slow, and I got to put capital in place to cover payroll during that time.
Right.
Okay.
So then all these things,
All right.
all these
So
things make you a little nervous, right? You get to the point
I
like,
have your phone number.
hey, I got money coming in, but I'm tired of seeing this in my business account. My business account just keeps trending down. So, these are all things you gotta think about and be ready for. But you're never gonna get it 100% correct. I would recommend one of two things: either bump it up, or once you start, be prepared to look at another financing solution, so that way you ensure you're capitalized. Or, bottom line is this: have an answer. Where do these additional funds come if you need additional funds?
Yeah. That's one thing I always talk to people about, is being financially prepared, or making sure they have the credit line there, or building up to get that credit line just in case, even if you're not using it, at least you have some kind of safety net.
Yes.
I remember there was, when I was in my franchise, there was times where I think it was May and September's, for some whatever reason. Things could be going great, and then all of a sudden May, just people vanished. It was like clients just started calling, hey, we're not coming in, and then September, the same thing happened. It was like just people fell off a cliff. We go from like, all of a sudden revenue went from one month, and then the following month, that September, all of a sudden it was like a third of what we had the month prior. And it's like, where did it all go? So,
well, that's the other thing I'd advise anybody, is that, always have always have, well, I'm just going off of the Northeast of the seasonal aspect. So my advice for anybody is know what your monthly operating costs to include payroll, everything else. That excludes you, right? So when things are lean, you're the first one to count payroll. But
I don't know if I want to set.
have 3 months of carrying costs ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have that in the
Just to
bank.
make sure you cover everything. And so
Yep.
sounds like you guys are getting a bunch of phone calls in the background. so that's always good to see, right? But I'll let you get going. Yeah, thanks for jumping on with me today, and appreciate it. And yeah, I wish you all the best and the family. And yeah,
The other thing I would advise anybody is that, hey, some people, because I've heard that from some people, like, hey, I don't want to pay the royalty fees with a franchise. The reason why I'm totally okay with it is because I wouldn't know how to do all this on my own.
yeah.
So I will gladly pay that. Now, if you want to go learn how to do all this, go for it. But
So do you think? Yeah. So
Yeah.
do you feel like that cut a lot of learning curve out of there? Like, if you were to do that on your own, do you think having the franchise cut? Yeah. Okay.
huge.
I had someone else tell me recently.
Yep.
He's in a real estate franchise, and he had said that. I mean, he was up and running. He was able to quit his job at 6 months, and he said most of the people that were doing it on their own, it was taking them 2 or 3 years to get to where he was in 6 months.
Correct. Yes, because that's what any entrepreneur will tell you. Like, oh, be ready to not pay yourself for 2 or 3 years.
Right.
That's why. But with a franchise, there are a lot of guardrails in place and safety networks and pre-templated plans for everything so you can execute. And you're like, oh, okay. And you have a franchise coach that advises you.
Right. Yeah, I was just about to ask that. You guys have a lot of support, and
Yeah. Until you can take the training wheels off and go.
Cool.
A lot of support.
That's good. That's good to know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, man.
All right, man. Is there anything else you can think of, or?
No, that's it, and I won't do any more good idea fairy comments.
Well, yeah, you were an officer, so I know that's like ingrained in you. You always have like a fairy flying around you. It's just...
Can't help yourself.
All right, man. Well, it was good talking to you, and yeah, keep in touch, and hopefully touch base again like next year or something.
Yeah, let's do the
Yeah.
check-in.
All right, Ned. Well, I will talk to you later. All right.
Yeah, boy.
Well, I hope you found this interview with Ned from Mr. Handyman informative and helpful, especially if you're a veteran. And if you have any questions about franchising or a business opportunity, please feel free to reach out. I'd be glad to help. And today I'd like to end with a quote from, and I might butcher the name, but Dhirubhai Ambani. If you don't build your dream, someone else will hire you to help them build theirs. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.